I'm tight. Okay, so hey everybody, I'm Angela Faith. I'm an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide, and thank you so much for joining our impromptu training today. My friend, Heather Oathout, who is also an Emerald Ambassador in Texas, has so graciously decided to join us today and share a little bit of her story and tell you what she's learned in her journey to Emerald and what she thinks that you guys could really take away from her journey, because I've heard it. I think it's pretty awesome, so I'm excited she's going to share it with you. And you can hear me okay, right? You can hear? Okay. And I wanted to say this. Heather and I met at my first Leaders Retreat in 2014. Was that your first Leaders Retreat as well?
It was.
2014. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I assumed I would be Emerald someday. I think you probably assumed that. Were you Emerald yet there?
No.
Not yet. I don't know. I was just dancing with you. I didn't know what rank you were.
I love it.
So we had a great time. It was a lot of fun, and we've been friends ever since. And so basically, I just want you to tell my team like your journey and what it has meant to you to become Emerald and how it's changed your family and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to be quiet and let you take it away.
Awesome. Okay. You know what? My journey has been crazy. In fact, when we were talking about what I should share or whatever, and I told her a little bit about my journey, which she knew for the most part anyway, it was like one of those things that she was like, my team needs to hear that. And the reason is because my journey has not been easy. My journey was not this like quick haul up to Emerald. In fact, there was a lot of tears involved. There was a lot of days that I looked to my upline and I said, you know what, I don't know if I can even do this. Like, oh my gosh, this roller coaster is intense. And she pushed me through it, and thank God I had her, and thank God you guys have Angela, because there are going to be days that are just so hard. So I'm going to talk you through what that looks like for me and what happened. But basically I started Plexus in July of 2013. No, 2000. Was it 2013? I don't know. We talked about this. Now I'm confused. But anyway, I've been doing it for about 2.5 years. And anyway, at the end of July, I joined, and I just decided, you know what? I need to make extra money. And so that's the reason that I jumped into the business side, because I thought, I've never wanted to do MLMs, so I'm totally against them. In fact, when I started, my mom had done like everything under the sun, and I swore I would never do it because I never saw her make money. And so I just remember hauling jewelry all around the town, you know, to all these parties and setting it up and watching all these people look at themselves in the mirror. And I was like, that is just not what I want to do. And so anyway, I swore I'd never do it. She came over with me when the girl came over to kind of tell us about Plexus, and she said, you know what, Heather, I think there's something different about that comp plan. I think you can make money. And so that's when I just decided to jump in. I needed to make some extra money. I just decided to stay home with my kiddos and quit teaching. Totally a God thing, like trusting that he would provide for us. And so I started posting on Facebook, because that is my two immediate uplines don't work. And so basically what I did that first day I signed up, the one who signed me up, she said, I don't know. And I said, well, who knows? And she said, go to my sister-in-law. And so I went to her sister-in-law, and she's like, I don't really know. And I said, okay, who knows? And she said, Laura, go to Laura Klaus. She's above me. She knows. And I said, oh my gosh, just give me her name and number. Like, I'll go to her. And so they gave me her number, and I called her, and we met that night, the day that I signed up. And I said, you know what, I want this. And so she explained it all to me, and Laura and I have been really close ever since. And I think that that's what you have to do. You have to just find someone who's willing to help you. We know when you're getting started. If it's not your upline, that's fine. Keep going until you find someone. But anyway, that aside, so she said, post on Facebook. So I started posting on Facebook. We didn't know anything else at the time. I had no idea that you had the option of reaching out to people, or that should even be an option. And now we know that, and I'll talk about that more in a little bit. But I started posting on Facebook, and people were asking me questions, and I started the products, and I was in love, as we all are, right? And I started feeling better, and so many things were happening. Pains were going away that I didn't know that was going to be a side effect. I was losing weight. I had so much more energy for my kids. And so I just thought, this is serious, and my friends need to know about this. So then at that point, I started calling my best friends, you know, and I was like, hey, this is awesome. Like, I think you should try this. And so anyway, as the journey progressed, my journey was fast at that point, was ranking up probably once a month, once every other month until I hit Senior Ruby. And that was about 6-7 months in, something like that. And all of a sudden, everything came to a screeching halt. It was like I hit Senior Ruby and I thought everything was going to happen for me. It was almost as if I kind of sat back, but yet I didn't. I was still there for my team, but I just thought it was going to keep going, and it didn't, and it stopped. And so then I was like, okay, there's something seriously wrong here. But at that point, I hadn't done one training. The only thing I had ever done was I had sent people emails when they signed up. So if they joined me, I sent them an email that Laura had sent me. I didn't even change anything except for my name, and I sent all the same attachments. I didn't know what they were. And so I just did what she had told me to do. At that point, I realized I need to do more than what I'm doing. And so these people need something to continue going. I had people falling off. I had, all these white lines. I didn't know what that meant. And so I really started researching. Okay, there's lots of people promoting to Emerald, which is the next goal, right? From Senior Ruby to Emerald. And there were so many people promoting, and I was like, what are they doing? So I started reaching out to them, and I was like, what are you doing? What's going on? Help me understand what you're doing with their teams. And I found out several things. First of all, I found out they were doing Zoom trainings, and they were teaching their team as a whole, like what you guys are doing, or what Angela provides for you, which is awesome. But then I also found out that several of them were calling their teammates, checking on them and texting them and asking them to be successful with, what are you doing and how is that working and are you having success? I mean, I hadn't contacted a customer. I wasn't keeping up with people. And so that, no wonder they were falling off, right? And so anyway, I started reaching out to them, training my team, training my leaders, and it looked really different for me because I couldn't just train my level ones at that point. I had a huge team. I had to find leaders all throughout my team, and if that meant 5s and 6s, then I reached out to them and I pulled them into these training groups, and I started training all of the leaders that I felt like were my strong people at that time, and then asking them to duplicate it down. I started reading books. I started doing 3-way calls. I started all of these things that are so powerful, and we know that now. And my team started growing again. And then in July, I hit Emerald, and just in time to be able to go to Maui last year. So went to Maui, so exciting. Again, you would have thought I learned my lesson, but I hit Emerald, and then I was like, oh, I made it, right? And I kind of just sat. And that wasn't a good plan because then my team started going backwards. You can't ever just sit. Just sitting is not a good option. It's just not. No matter what you do to get to the next rank and however hard you push, you still keep going and you still keep training and you don't ever take a break. But anyway, so then I got to Emerald and I kind of just sat for pretty much for that whole month, and then things started going backwards. And so then in October, the back office hit. And that, I just totally took over all my team's issues. I posted on my team page, hey, send me your issues. I'll take care of them. I'll be the hero in this situation. And that was not a good plan either because October, November, December, really just those 3 months, I completely quit working my business. And in doing that and in calling customer service every day and not working my business on orders that they would have shipped out. I mean, like they would have realized and they would have shipped out. It might have been a month late, but they still would have gotten their products. I mean, I was wasting my time just so someone might get their product a week or two early, earlier than they might have come had I not called. So anyway, all that to say, I quit working my business. I still trained and I still did things with my team, but for the most part, I was just calling customer service. So again, I reached out to my upline and I said, hey, Laura, like my business is totally going backwards. I'm not Emerald. I don't know what's going on. What do I do? And she said, well, how many people have you signed up? How are you working your business? And you personally, what's your daily method of operation? Are you doing 5-3-1 every single day? No, I'm not, like at all. And she said, well, that's your problem. How are you going to expect your team to grow if you're not working your business? And they see what you're doing. They see everything that you're doing. Even though you think you're at home in your house and you're working your business from your home, they see if you're posting on Facebook consistently. They see if you're reaching out to people. They see if you're adding new ambassadors. And I kept thinking, well, there's some people who just want wholesale and don't want to be welcomed on the team page. And she was like, Heather, you can't fool people. Like, they totally get it and they know. So, there's a husband. Hi. I love it. So anyway, I was like, okay, you're right. And I can't ask them to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So we took Melissa Eichenhorst's 6-week challenge, and we decided we're going to do that together. She took a group, and then I took, because my team is on her team, I took a group from my team. And I had 52 people join me on that 6-week challenge when I first offered it in January. They were hungry for something because I hadn't been working it, I hadn't really been pushing them. So we kicked off the 6 weeks challenge, and you guys, it was mind blowing what these people came out with. I mean, so many promotions, so many people reaching levels that they wanted. And during that time, I promised them, I'm going to do this with you, just like I'm asking you to do it. So every week on the assignments, I would post what I had done during that time as well. And I think it really showed them, wow, she'll do what she's asking us to do. Here are all of the things that she asked us to do, and she's posting the answers of what she's doing as well. So I think that's important that they see you doing it too. And on the other side of this, so fast forward 6 weeks, we've got all these promotions, we've got all these things going on. Now it's ended, and I've started another one. This time I only have about 26 people. But the reason is, so many of those leaders that were in that group have started their own 6-week challenges with their teams. So many of those leaders have started doing so many things with their teams. And you guys, my points jumped so much from January to February, just from seeing them get excited and seeing the growth that was happening in each of them. And I realized quickly during that challenge, and I've read it over and over, but for some reason it had never really registered until I read it and did it with them. There is something so powerful about helping your team get what they want. This whole journey, I guess I thought it was about me, and it wasn't. This whole journey is about helping all of these precious people on my team get what they want out of this business, get what they want out of their life. And if that means that they can stay home with their kids, then I want that for them. And I'm sorry I'm getting emotional. And if that means that they quit their job to be able to, be with their husband full time, whatever that looks like for them, they were getting it. They are getting it. And there is so much more joy in that than there is in me ever getting what I want in a promotion. So if you take yourself out of the equation and you put yourself in the sense of, wow, these people need this. These people need the products. These people need this comp plan. These people need what Plexus can do for them. And you just go for helping them, then your whole mind shift will change. And it'll all be about helping people get what they want. And in them getting what they want, you will in return get what you want out of this business. And that, I'm telling you, is how I feel like my journey has been so successful. And honestly, the most successful part of my journey is not me hitting Emerald. The most successful part of my journey is the self-growth that I've had over the last 2.5 years, because I am a completely different person than I was when I taught school. In fact, I joke with my family a lot about how I was the worst team leader when they put me as a team leader at my school as a teacher. I was the worst team leader in the world because I expected everyone just to do as I did and follow me. And everyone is so different, and everyone has their own style. And just because right now I'm doing all these things with my team, I'm not demanding that they follow what I do, because what they do could be so much more powerful than what I do. We all have our own journey, and it's about getting there in exactly the time that God has planned for our lives and for what we need. And so anyway, I wanted to kind of share that. And Angela, I know you have some questions you might want to ask me, but I wanted to just let you guys hear my heart and kind of where that was. But if I could leave you with anything on that, it's just focus on you and your self-growth, and then focus on people and helping them get what they want out of Plexus and just their journey. Find out their goals, find out their why, and really help them to develop that. And a lot of that is the self-growth.
Heather, thank you so much. My team that's sitting here watching you right now, and anybody that watches the recording later, is not going to wonder for 1 second why I wanted them to hear you speak. Not for a second, because, I have so many things I want to touch on that you said. First of all, it makes me emotional too. When you said, I'm sorry for getting emotional, and they've seen me do it over and over. There's 2 people on this call right now that we just did an event yesterday for them. It was like their launch party. And I kept saying, this just becomes, first it's about you and your results with the products. Then it's about you and you want to do this business. And all of a sudden it shifts to, when people say, oh, I'm not really that interested. It's not about the money. It's crazy what happens at a certain point. It becomes about other people and changing their lives in both ways. And it is now about the money, but not in the way that you would think.
Exactly.
And it makes me emotional when I see the things that we're able to do because of rising to this challenge and helping other people get what they needed and what they wanted. So many things that I wanted to touch on about that. You said, so first of all, good reminder to me, because I only hit Emerald at the end of January. So to make sure that I keep up my, producing activity. And like you said, they definitely do see what you are doing. And here's how I know. Now, I've always been very available to my team. I've always been super hands-on. Totally did the whole I'll be the savior thing during the back office, and totally did that. And but they see what you do, because I'll tell you, I had a crazy string of events for a month and a half, from the day before I hit Emerald until a month and a half later. Just crazy family events, people passing away, lots of things happen and hit like in quick sequence, one after another. And I just kind of went pulled inward, and I was like, I don't even know what to do. Too many things are happening. And I almost froze. I did what I had to. But this is how I know that the team sees what's happening. Now my team's big now. There's a lot of people, lots of activity in my team page. But I got some messages. Are you okay? We're not seeing you anywhere on Facebook.
Wow.
People that were my key leaders were reaching out and going, I'm worried about you. What's going on? Because I tend to keep very private, but they saw that my activity had disappeared. The things that I would normally do had stopped happening. Now, I think that's going to happen sometimes in life. I just kind of maintained and did the best that I could. I'm back. I'm good. But your team sees what you're doing. So you don't want to stop if you want to keep growing. So I love that you pointed that out. We were doing the 6-week groups as well. I've just wrapped up the last one. And it was like 40-something people each time. Had the same results that you said, where lots of promotions, lots of momentum. And then they did go ahead and start doing other challenges in their own teams as well. They did like a 90-day plan, like the Eric Worre deal. They did the leadership one, the John Maxwell, jumped off and started doing those things. So it's just amazing. We're on the same page with building leaders and building people up. That's, for me, the key to everything. So I just love everything that you said. So yeah, I couldn't add to it. I just wanted to touch on how I've had such similar experiences with that. Let's see. So you had to really step through a lot of obstacles to figure out what wasn't working and make it work. And so I think, would you agree that that's pretty much, I think a lot of people believe, until they learn otherwise, that maybe certain people have a certain skill set, or they're just lucky, that allows them to get where we are. When really what it is that we have decided to figure out what's not working and move forward, right? It's a decision.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, the people, you hear a lot of testimonies about, I shouldn't say a lot. You hear some testimonies about people who fly through the ranks and they make it to diamond and, whatever. And I'm telling you, I don't think it has anything to do with luck. I think it has to do with those people have built amazing relationships before they ever started this. And here's an example. I'm a very outgoing people person. And I've always had great relationships and stuff like that, but I was not a deep relationship kind of person. I was a very surface relationship kind of person. And so for me, what I found was on Facebook, I wasn't even adding people. Like if I thought we were kind of friends in high school, I didn't add you. You know, like I did not have all these friends. I did not have a massive network, even though I really did. I'm a pastor's daughter. We lived, 3 or 4 different states. Like I had a ton of friends, but I didn't want to be that intimate with them. So I didn't have them on my Facebook. I didn't have them like that. So all that to say, I think the people who have shot to the top, they understood life's lessons in friendships and the value of relationships. And I don't think it was about luck at all. I think it was about the relationships, which is what I've had to learn and cultivate and understand, that it's so important that you value those relationships and that you nurture them, really, and you pour into them. And again, it goes back to helping them get what they want out of life. And that's in any friendship. That's in your 5 best girlfriends. Like, it's really not about what can you give me. It's about what can I help you with to help you with your life. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because I think sometimes people feel like they got lucky, and it's not about luck at all. It's about where you are and the growth that you're having. And some of those people just understood life before this came along, and I didn't.
Absolutely. And you know what I talk to my team a lot about now? We're in a region that tends to grow slowly with network marketing anyway. Just, how there's geographically different things about different places. And so we're in Maryland, Virginia, DC. That's where the bulk of my team is. And it tends to grow a little slower. But I talked about that from the beginning. I would say to people, you know what? The things that I'm trying to teach you about that personal growth or pointing you where to learn that, the thing is, I learned that through X, Y, and Z situations before I found Plexus. I learned exactly the things. So I did come into it with a lot of stuff that I had already had my face shoved face forward into some situations that taught me about myself and taught me how to handle those situations. So I did have that confidence in exactly what you're saying. And then in terms of the relationships, my favorite books to recommend to people are How to Influence People by John Maxwell and Go Givers, Sell More by Bob Berg. It's all about building up your relationships with other people and why that matters. And there was something else important that I wanted to say to you, but I'm so glad that you said what you did about the surface friendships, because I actually have 2 people in this very coaching group that we just wrapped who talked about exactly that, and that's what was holding them back. I couldn't be happier. You and I didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm happier that you said that. That's really going to help them when they go back and watch the recording. Gosh, there was something else you said that was so awesome, but I'm sure when I go and watch the replay, I'll remember it, but I can't remember it right now. Man, that's how I wanted to wrap it up. You know who you reminded me of is when you said that you're such a different person now than before, Amber Miller, that young Sapphire. She's Sapphire now, right?
She's Diamond.
She hit Diamond. Mm-hmm. You remind me of her because she talks about how she feels like such a different person because of the personal growth and the personal development. It's everything, yeah. It's everything.
It is everything. And if you're not, it's like that whole, on my call last night that I do for my team, we talked about, I said, make sure you've got a 5-3-1 or a 3-2-1, like whatever you want to do, make sure you got some numbers in there and you're doing them. And so anyway, and then one of my girls said, and don't forget the +1. And I'm like, oh my gosh, absolutely. Like the +1 is the most important part, which is that whole self-growth for you.
Yes.
Every single day. I did not do that in the beginning. And I'm telling you, I think that's why I've gotten stalled so many times.
You know who my team just got done watching? We just had Leslie Zann here for the weekend. Have you seen her yet? Have you been to any of her events?
I haven't, and I want to.
She's amazing. So I came down to where you guys are to see her in August, and then we got her here this past weekend. She's incredible. So definitely get her to your team if you get a chance to. She's just incredible because she's all about that. She's all about breaking through, finding the courage, and coming from a truthful, authentic place, because I think people get worried about selling, and I don't worry about that. I think I did for maybe the first month.
Right.
I got past that pretty quickly because I very quickly realized that I could be completely authentic and completely not be trying to convince people, because I was convinced. I was convinced about what I was, talking to them about, both the business and the products. And I think people more quickly make the leap to being able to talk to people about the products, and they hold back about, I'm afraid to talk to people about the business, which now that we're on this side of it, I think is so easy to see why it shouldn't be that hard. But it takes people a while to get there. How has being an Emerald changed your life, financially and stuff?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I just can't even. It totally changed my life. I didn't even say this in the beginning, but I needed $400 a month to be able to stay home. And so I was looking at working at a daycare. Like, I seriously, being a certified teacher, was looking into all kinds of crazy stuff to be able to come up with $400 a month when Plexus came along. But so from that extreme to needing $400 a month to be able to stay home to now, Emerald Pay, it's totally life-changing. It's honestly beyond anything I can explain until you get there, because we're paying off debt. We've had a lot of debt. We owned our own company at one point, and I mean, there are just so many things. And it's just such a blessing to feel like my children are not going to have to struggle through watching mommy and daddy struggle with debt. They're not going to have to live with some of those things that they would have had to live with for a long time had Plexus not come along. So, we can't go to Chuck E. Cheese because we can't afford it. It was that kind of stuff. So it's been such a huge blessing. Absolutely.
Yeah. And all the ranks, moving up to that point were life-changing for me. It's funny, at our event yesterday, it's funny that you said 400, because that's the number that kept coming up when we were talking about the business side of it. That's just funny to me that it was the very same number, because I feel like, $400 and $500 a month is life-changing for people. I'm so enthusiastic, I'm shaking my computer. Shaking It is huge. I was doing daycare. I mean, we may not have ever talked about this, but that is what I was doing. And my husband just asked me yesterday, because of course we saw my pending deposit. So late last night, he just kind of shook his head and he said, tell me again what you were making killing yourself at daycare. I had 4 kids full time, 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. And I was running out the door, racing to take my kids to things, constantly feeling flustered, constantly feeling like I was failing everybody. And I was making literally 1/8 of what I'm making now, 5 days a week. And now I get to do this on my own terms. It's absolutely insane. There's no place for it. Like you said, it's so life-changing, not to mention the Lexus.
Right.
Which one did you get? I don't remember. I've seen your pictures. I think we have the same one.
The RX.
Oh, you got the RX. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did. I have 3 little kids, so I can't get a club.
Mine are big. I only have one little one. So I decided by the time I get to Diamond is when I'll get the SUV one, and my little guy will be 10 around that time. So that's what I'm projecting. He'll be 10. He's 9 now. So
that's awesome.
Then I'll get the SUV one, but I got the sports one this time. I think that's kind of all I had for you. Because I don't want to keep it too long, but thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's inspiring to hear the different perspectives people are coming from and what they've learned along the way. I do these because I feel like it shakes people out of those assumptions and preconceived ideas they have, that there's like one way to do this or one type of person who can make it,
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and I do, you know what, Angela, I do want to mention something else, and I don't know why I feel like I should just say this, but I do want to throw out there, I don't really care much about what people think about me at this point, because I'm going to share this. And at the beginning, I was totally not like that. I was horrified that someone would ever pass me. But I do want to just throw out there, my mom is my strongest leg. And she's amazing, total rock star. She's built an amazing team, and she's passed me at this point. And she's an Emerald, but she's well on her way to Sapphire. And I just want to say that to let you know, like, if people come on your team and they start passing you or going, up, embrace that. Like there's beauty in that. And there's a part of you, because I felt this way in the beginning, that there's a part of you that's hard. It's a pride thing. Like, are you serious? Everybody knows who I am, and all of a sudden my mom's going to pass me, and like, that's not okay. There was something with me with that. But now that I've come out on the other side, I'm like, what a blessing. What a blessing that she is helping me, and why she's helping me is she is so successful, and she's passing me, and that's great. So just know that if you ever get someone on your team and they pass you, don't let it hurt you, because like it's only hurting you. Like they're still going. So just don't let it hurt you, and don't let it bog you down. Like that's a pride issue, and I just want you to embrace that and know that that's a blessing. So I don't know why I want to throw that in there.
Actually, you said it, because something beyond us must have spoken to you to say that, because it actually has happened on our team quite a bit. And it affects people, and I hear it. Now, I happen to have 5 strong legs, so it's not like that for me. But within all of that, I see it happen. I hear from people. I see where people start to feel like, I'm going to get choked up now, because I actually have quite a bit of experience from different people, and every one of them who's talked to me about this is going to know that part of my tears are coming from them. I have people who almost feel beat down, like they don't deserve their rank. And that, like you said, this is a blessing. Plexus has created the most amazing compensation plan. They decided that you got your rank based on the things that you've done to get to your rank. And this gives you the time and the space to learn and to grow while it doesn't hold anybody else back. And then you learn and you grow, and your points catch up on your outside leg or whatever. And there is nothing to feel, set the ego aside, because the sooner we set aside the ego, the faster we go. I don't have much of an ego. That's why I don't really care what anybody thinks.
I used to really care.
Out there.
Yeah, I know.
So, no, I'm so glad you said it. That's why I love to do these. That's why I love these conversational kinds of trainings, because I think things come out of them that when we sit down and pre-plan what we're going to say, that doesn't happen. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right, girl. Well, I'm looking forward to convention in Las Vegas. I totally plan to find you so we can party again.
Yeah.
And looking forward to my first time in Hawaii with you. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Have a great day.
You
Bye,
too.
everybody.
Bye.